Long before the village had a name, before roads were drawn on maps, before people learned how to hide the truth with words, there was a house. It stood alone at the far edge of the land, where the trees grew thin and the wind spoke in whispers. No path led directly to it, yet everyone knew where it was. Children were warned not to look at it after sunset. Elders avoided speaking its name. They called it the Silent House, not because it was empty, but because it listened. The villagers believed silence was protection. They believed forgetting was survival. They believed time would eventually forgive them. But the house never forgot. It remembered every broken promise, every fearful choice, every moment when truth was sacrificed for comfort. And it waited. One autumn evening, as the sky burned red and gold, a stranger arrived. His name was Elias. He walked slowly, carrying a small leather bag and a past heavy with unanswered questions. His eyes held the look of someone who had searched for too long and slept too little. He had followed rumors, fragments of old letters, and half-forgotten stories. Years ago, his family had vanished. No graves were found. No witnesses spoke. Only silence remained. And Elias had learned something important in his life. Silence is never empty. It is full of things people are afraid to say. The villagers greeted him with careful smiles. They offered food, a place to rest, and polite words that felt rehearsed. But when Elias mentioned the house, the warmth vanished. Voices lowered. Eyes turned away. Hands trembled. Some laughed nervously and said it was nothing more than ruins. Others warned him to leave the past alone. Only an old woman near the dry well dared to speak. Her back was bent, her hands shaking, but her eyes were sharp. "The house remembers," she whispered. "It remembers what we tried to bury." She told him the truth. Long ago, the village had committed a terrible betrayal. An innocent family had been accused, abandoned, and erased. Fear had sealed everyone's lips. Lies had replaced memory. Life continued, but something was broken. The house was built after that night, not as punishment, but as memory, a place where truth could not escape. That night, Elias could not sleep. The wind stopped suddenly, as if the world itself was holding its breath. The stars felt distant. The silence pressed against his chest. Then he heard it. A sound. Slow. Steady. Like breathing. It came from the direction of the house. Not calling him. Waiting. Under the pale light of the moon, Elias stood before the door. It was old, cracked, and darkened by time. There were no locks, no chains. It was unlocked. It had always been unlocked. As he stepped inside, cold air wrapped around him. The darkness felt heavy, alive, aware. His footsteps echoed, though the floor was covered in dust. The walls did not speak. They remembered. Regret pressed against his thoughts. Fear crept into his chest. Loss surrounded him like a shadow. Every step felt like walking deeper into himself. The hallway stretched longer than it should have. The house shifted quietly, as if adjusting to his presence. Then the walls changed. They became mirrors. In them, Elias saw his life. Not the version he had told himself, but the truth. He saw his childhood home. He saw laughter, warmth, and safety. Then he saw fire in the distance. He saw the night his family disappeared. He saw fear. He saw himself running. He survived, but he never returned. A voice filled the room. Not loud, not cruel, honest. You chose to forget. Elias fell to his knees. He had told himself he was a victim of fate, but the house showed him something worse. He had chosen silence. The mirrors faded. The room darkened. A final door appeared. Carved deeply into the wood were words written by time itself. Truth demands a price. Elias understood. Behind the door was not death. It was understanding. The truth of the village. The truth of his family. The truth of himself. But accepting it meant staying. Becoming part of the house. Becoming memory. Becoming the voice that others would hear. Elias stood in silence. Then he stepped forward. The next morning, the villagers awoke to a strange feeling. The air felt heavier. The silence felt louder. They found the door of the house open. The house stood still, watching. An old man near the road fell to his knees, tears streaming down his face. He remembered the screams, the lies, the night they turned away. Others began to remember too. The truth spread quietly, like a disease, like a cure. The house remained, and so did the memory. Some say Elias never left. Some say he became the voice within the walls. But one thing is certain: the truth never forgets. And neither does the silent house. The truth never forgets. And neither does the silent house.